Hey everybody, I'm Justin Bohn.
And I'm Mike Val.
And this is the Bohn and Zano Zone, where we are always on the lanes, off the charts, and on the mic. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Bohn and Zano Zone podcast presented by BuddiesProShop.com. I know I say this at the beginning of every show that this is going to be a good one, but I'm super excited for the recap of the World Series bowling.
This was the best week of professional bowling in a long time. I mean, you had it on Saturday, Sunday, and up to Wednesday night. How can you say this was a bad week?
Oh, I know. Honestly, as a fan of bowling, I loved how the World Series of bowling turned out.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Absolutely loved it.
And the fact that it got national recognition, it was on Fox on Saturday. It was on Fox on Sunday. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. You had a show every night. It was fantastic.
I know. I thought it was great.
We watched Cheetah together at the Bowling Center on Monday. I mean, we had the whole house watching it. I mean, I'm sure every center across the country was probably watching the show Monday throughout leagues.
Yeah.
But this was great, man.
I loved it. I thought it was good. And as a fan of bowling, it was really cool to see some guys that we haven't really seen win before on tour.
Yeah, that was another good thing. Like, and no disrespect to the superstars out there, but it wasn't the same almost Simo troop every show. You know,
right?
You had a good mix of guys this week. You know, you had your vets, you know, and we'll talk about EJ. EJ's the one we'll talk about in a little bit. But you didn't have Belmo anywhere.
I know.
And not that it's bad they didn't have Belmo.
It was shocking. Yeah,
it was shocking. It was kind of good that you didn't have Belmo because it shows that he can't be beat, right?
Right.
And gave the field another chance to get into the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he didn't really bowl that well in Florida to begin with. Even in the players, he didn't bowl that well down there.
He didn't bowl in Florida. He bowled in Arizona, but
that's right. I'm sorry.
But he made the show at the TSC too.
He did.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it was. I mean, we all have off weeks. He just proved that he was human.
Exactly, and he hasn't had a week like that in a long time.
Right. It was very shocking for him, especially being the 3-time defending champion of the World Championship, to not make the first cut at all.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, a lot of people said that building was.
Yeah, I think they were talking about it on Flow Bowling a couple of times, how hard it was to strike there because of the pins.
Mm-hmm.
The pins, they were flat bottom or rounded bottom, however you want to word it. But they were just hard to knock over. And that wasn't what you saw on TV because they had different pins. The PBA has pins that they put in for the TV shows.
Yeah.
So I think that the pins that they use played a big factor on top of the surface. Now, this isn't really like a common center that's used for like the World Series or really any PBA stop.
No.
It's one of those older AMF surfaces that really hooks a lot.
Yeah, there was instant friction. You saw it on every show, basically.
And Tom Doherty proved it that he knows how to bowl in that building, and he was good at it.
I think Doherty proved in general he knows how to bowl, period.
Yeah. I think this was a big outcoming week for Tom with everything. I mean, winning the World Championship was obviously a huge thing, but then winning Scorpion at the end of the week and making the statement, "This is my house," it was in the right place, and he proved it.
No, you're 100% right. He did prove himself finally. I think maybe now he got over the hump.
Yeah,
And now he can really just kind of like skyrocket off of this week, and hopefully it carries on to the majors for him.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
so where do you want to get started? I mean, we got some storylines. We got 5 tournaments to talk about.
Well, I think that we're going to get started with we're going to go in the order that they took place in, and we'll start with the World Championship.
Okay.
So, World Championship took place on Saturday at
afternoon
2 o'clock on Fox, live on Fox.
How about finally bowling back on a Saturday afternoon? I know you weren't around for that, but
I know.
For us, older people, that's what we were used to.
Yeah, so first match featured Kyle Troup and Chris Vi. Now, Kyle Troup has definitely been making a statement on the tour this season, winning the world champ or winning the players, making some shows and some other events, making cuts, making the world championship show. Oh, and let me mention that this is Chris Vi's 4th consecutive major telecast.
And he's only made how many shows in his career?
I don't think it's
4.
more than 5.
No, I don't think he's made a show that's not in a major.
Yeah, so that's
saying something right there.
Yeah, and he's only won. This was his 2nd match win on TV.
Yeah, his other match shot 300 to win.
Yeah, so I think Chris is starting to get over the hump, and it's only a matter of time before we see him regularly, like Kyle Troup, Belmo, Simonson, on these telecasts. To where
he will go to the winner's circle before this year is over, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Chris is extremely close to getting over that hump and winning his first title.
And let's even put Chris in this category, and I don't think he was on one last year. Chris Vi will be on a PBA League team this year, 100%.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
He will get drafted this year, 100%. He'll get drafted this year.
Yeah, I think he's proven himself now that he's an absolute player, and it's time that he's on one of those teams.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's earned it. I mean, he made really good shots in this match. He really did. As I say that, there you go. But they're in the 10th games out of the wood, basically. But he made great shots when he had to. Kyle looked a little not troopish in this match.
Yeah, I think he posted on social media that he made the wrong choice. Wrong ball, wrong part of the lane, however you want to word it. But now on to match 2, Jacob Buttriff. Let's talk about this guy's week right here. Finishing 2nd in 2 events. He's up there with one of the guys that had the best week at the World Series. He's probably in the top 5.
For a guy who didn't win, he is right behind EJ.
Yeah. And the only reason EJ's ahead of him was because EJ made the match play cut in all 5.
Exactly. And Butters looks like a different guy now. He lost like 30 pounds. I mean, he looks good. Like he looks like he's in bowling shape now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he lost some weight. I know he's been working out, hitting the gym a little bit, and just changed his lifestyle. And after his mom passed away, he really got motivated to get better with his life. And
yeah,
you can see it. You can tell.
No, absolutely. No, and he made really good shots. And he had that look again. He had the urethane. He had the urethane look.
Yeah, and I know they've talked about it a couple times this week on the show that he's looking to get back to that 2019 Jacob Buttriff, and I think that he's very close to getting over that hump again.
Absolutely.
2019 was a really good year for him. I know he finished 2nd in the World Championship, won the Masters, won another title, and was 2nd in the Player of the Year race behind Belmo, and Belmo obviously did Belmo things that year.
And there's EJ starting off with the 9 out. I kind of think that was right there. That just stuck in his head the whole match.
Yeah, I mean, obviously
he did rally back.
Yeah, I watched EJ bowl a couple of match plays this week, and I think that he let some small things get to him a little too much.
Yeah, he was frying out a little more than he's supposed to.
I think there's a time and a place for it. Like when you're shooting the spare, you've got a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, but then the next shot, you just kind of got to let it go. And I think I don't. He might have mentally in his head, but he definitely didn't show it if he was trying to.
Yeah, and right there, like I thought he just played him wrong at that. Those two shots there, the
Yeah,
240-10, even the 10 pin he left in last. I'm like, he's playing him wrong. And I think he ball changed after this one. After this shot, he ball changed,
very possibly.
or he moved a little right. I don't know what he didn't. He did, and whatever. But yeah, he was. He rallied back. I mean, he made it interesting. He made it really interesting towards the end of the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can see now he's got a couple in a row, and he's taking the lead at this point.
Yeah, that was the worst shot Butters threw in the match right there. That was terrible.
If someone was going to
knew it too.
Yeah, if someone was going to beat Butters on this show, it was EJ, and it was this match.
Yeah, this was the only way to get Butters out of the show right here.
Yeah, I mean, you can see he's only bowling 190.
Exactly. And here we go. Oh, and there we go. There we go.
I mean, we got to have these. We got to.
Yeah, no, maybe we'll get better ones one day, but
so you can see here, EJ makes a good shot, and now he can't be shut out.
Exactly.
And we knew that Butters' look wasn't the greatest, and this is very telling. This 10th frame of how good this can be for EJ. He's gonna have a chance. Gets the first one there, and he needs all three to force EJ to get all three.
Right? Exactly. He had to match him. He just had to match him.
Yeah, it was whoever had the better 10th frame because they were both on strikes.
And I give Butters some more credit, and we've talked about this, and a lot of people have talked about it. His spare shooting is suspect sometimes. Butters was dead on the show. He had nothing that was, he barely made that, or he flagged a 7. No, he nutted all his shots, all his spare shots.
Go ahead, finish.
No, I would say he's recommitted, man. He is sharp now. He really is sharper than he's probably been in a long time.
Well, I think that he ended up drilling a plastic ball or something he can go a little bit straighter with that isn't that urethane ball. So
okay,
I think that plays a big role. Some people mentally just need a plastic ball. Some people can mentally do it without it. And hold on, I'm going to pause this here real quick. We just saw, so EJ needs a double and 9 or all 3 to win the game. Now, this shot, look at this number right here.
Yeah.
Was not even close.
No.
And, I mean, over 4 boards in down lane.
He missed by an arrow.
He talked about it after with an interview with Flo Bowling that basically just said that it's one thing when you give yourself a chance to strike and you get a bad break, you ring 10, but when you don't, it's disappointing.
Absolutely.
And that was the shot that he did not give himself a chance, and it proved it when he got half a loaf right through the middle.
Now let's bring the rebel in now, right? The hometown guy.
By the way, this shot right here, he said after that he flat out picked up the wrong ball.
Yeah.
Just picked up the wrong ball.
Happens. An honest mistake.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
Now, there's only one thing in this match that, to me, was really important. I mean, they both struck a ton in this match.
Right.
And I think the only thing that, I mean, Darty just aced every shot. Butters aced every shot.
Yeah.
The only shot to me that's relevant is the 11th.
Yeah.
Darty's 11th frame.
After this point in the match, I mean, this is close match. Jacob had a couple 9 spares in a row, but after this point, they basically went shot for shot, and it was a good break or a bad break going somebody's way. And when we see it, you'll know it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just look at how good both of their balls are going through the pins.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was definitely good to see Tom Doherty back on TV. He hadn't won a title since 2016 and won 2 in 5 days.
Yeah, and maybe now, I mean, he's always got to have that moniker, the 100 game on his back. But can we get that off his shoulders now? I mean, he's proven he's more than that. He should not have that Whenever you associate Tom Doherty now, you shouldn't associate the Hunter game with him anymore.
Right.
I mean, boom, 10 back right there. And this was a $100,000 two-pin he rolled.
Yeah, I mean, this has to be the biggest break of his career, and probably will be the biggest break of his career.
Justin, forget his career. That could be the biggest break you've ever seen on tour. I mean, I've been watching Bohn for 30 years. I don't ever remember seeing a shot like that to win a major.
Oh, I know.
Like I've seen I can remember one against your dad, all be against your dad through a messenger to win the TPC. That's a messenger. That's common. He rolled a 2-8 out of nowhere.
And even like Brooklyn's too. Like we've seen Brooklyn's to win tournaments, but they at least, as bad as they are, they hit the other side of the pocket.
Dude,
that one didn't even have a chance of striking.
No, that should have been 8, and Butter should be up there with a chance to win the title. I don't know how that 2-8 fell.
Yeah, I mean,
but great win for Tom though. This is a well-deserved win for Doherty. A very well-deserved win for Doherty.
I think it was really good to see him back in the winner's circle. And that was only the first event that he won. So I think wrapping up the World Championship, I think it was cool to see Walter Ray in match play and making a run at the TV show.
Yes.
In his last couple of events on the PBA tour, at least on the national tour. And I think it was cool to see some new faces, as much as we had seen Kyle very recently and we'd seen Jacob in the past, but Chris Vi proving himself again, EJ giving himself another chance. EJ, as good as a World Series he had to be disappointed that he didn't come out of the World Series the same way that Tom Doherty did.
Yeah.
I mean, all 5 match plays.
EJ was probably banking on bringing a title home. I mean, he had a 1-in-5 chance to win.
Right.
You have to think in his mentality of how good of a player he is. He's like, I'm going to win one. I mean, he was just snake bitten on the show and in match play.
Right. So now let's go to the doubles.
Let's go to the doubles.
The second TV show of the World Series.
Yep.
Now, this show was interesting.
It was very interesting.
We had how many? Kyle Troop and Jesper have won it twice. Sean Rash and Matt Ogle have won it, or won it in 2019.
They won it last year. They're the defending champions.
Kyle and Jesper are.
Oh, that's right. Ogle won it the previous year. You're right.
Yep. Why can I not remember?
EJ bowled with
Marshall. They've bowled together 6 years and made the show 4 times.
Correct.
So that goes to show how so like look at this. They've made the show 4 out of 6 times and they've qualified second every time. Three doubles titles between the 2 teams. Then you got some newer teams. Anderson and Prather and BJ Moore and Tom Doherty. So let's get to this first match. This first match, honestly, was not really close at all.
No, this was just they got steamrolled.
I mean, you can see it here. They bowled 270. I don't think the other team had a double after the first couple of frames.
They didn't sniff it. They didn't sniff anything in this one. So, there's really not much to say here. But the second match, we're going to insert Anderson and our buddy, Mr. Prather.
Yeah, I think we're just going to go to the last couple of frames here because Kyle and Jesper had this match in hand for, up until this point, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see they're up 23, striking out for 247. Jesper gets this one, and they had no business with losing this game.
No.
Not when the other team at 180, and they're already in the 2 teams. I mean, they're up 30 right now.
They're up 30. They should be bowling Kent and EJ, and that's probably what they're thinking about right now.
Thinking about just getting lined up for the next match. I mean, all you got to do is fill frames at this point.
Exactly. And I said it watching the show. We're actually a frame away from what I was going to say. Yeah.
So that was
a great shot right there.
Yeah, that I think was a shot that they needed to at that point in the match. They needed that shot to have a chance.
Oh, 100%.
When that
100%.
shot didn't strike, I mean, this team's got to be thinking to themselves, all right, this match is over.
Nice try.
Better luck next time, right?
Exactly.
And Praler's thinking to himself, of course, this one's going to strike because the match is over.
Of course. It always strikes
Right.
when it's out of the wood. Yeah.
Right. I mean, dead aces it. They all go down. Of course it does, right?
Yeah, and he knows it too. I mean, you can see it on his face. He just looks like he's he's defeated.
They're already in the two. They just got to go spare, or mark, and they win the game. They're on to the next match. So this was the momentum changer, the game changer, and what actually allowed the other team to win the tournament.
Yep.
It would have been go ahead.
I said this as soon as he left it. And I'll spill the beans here. He misses the spare. As soon as he missed the spare, the game was over. There was no way Andrew Anderson was not going to get up here and win the match. There was just no way.
Right. And I mean, even then, Jesper needed a double to win the game.
Yeah.
So you would have never thought that this match, I mean, they were up 40.
And that wasn't even close on the spare.
No.
It looked like he might have stuck a little bit.
A little. I had noticed a little bit of tacky issues for some spares on that side of the lane, but
yeah,
I mean, you can see it. It's not like he chopped it.
No, as soon as he missed it, I said it. The game was over. There was all the momentum right then there goes right back to Anderson. I mean, granted, Jesper can double here to win it, but I just didn't see it happening. Jesper had to be deflated, knowing like damn, like we had this one, and now we need a double.
Right, and then when that doesn't fall, I mean, Andrew said it on this tour with how hard it is to win. When you're given a chance, you just get up and take it.
Absolutely.
You just get up and take it because they're not given to you and gift wrapped to you the way that this match was.
No, not at all.
I mean, this match was practically gift wrapped. Show up in the 10th and you got it.
Yeah. And Anderson will get up here in the 10th needing a lot of work. And, for a guy who only has 2 titles, one of them being a major, he has so much experience. I mean, pack.
Right.
They were no doubters.
No, not at all.
There we go. There's one.
You can see that's dead on top of the strike track line.
Yep. Splits the 8-9. I mean, you can't throw any better than that. Needs this one.
And that one, too.
Look at that, right on top of it. Boom, 10 falls late.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't throw 3 in the 10th any better than this kid did.
I know. I mean, that was the momentum changer, and I think without that, it would have been a whole different telecast, let alone for Kyle and Jesper. I mean, who knows what would have happened?
Yeah.
I think at that point, it was anyone's game, but once they were able to win this game with what was gift wrapped to them, it was all she wrote.
Yep. And I mean, that was just a hair any 4 pins, but my God, that's a great 10 frame right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
Prather better be sending him a Christmas card this year for that.
Yeah. So do we want to highlight anything else out of this TV show, or do we just want to move on to the next telecast?
I mean, we can move on. I will say this: EJ Moore is going to break out eventually as well. He is a hell of a player.
I mean, you can see this match is not even close. So we're going to show what game changed this match here.
We're gonna. That's all right.
We got another one, but it's all right.
One. Now, if you want to go to Monday, the Cheetah.
Yeah, we'll do that once.
Well, how about we preface the Cheetah with this? And the people who watch the show and whatnot, I think everybody knows that I have like a man crush on Prather. I think we all know this. How about Prather throwing the high hard one on Monday night on Cheetah?
Yeah.
When do you ever see Prather A, throw urethane, and B, literally throw the high hard one? That is so not out of his game, but that's not his game.
No, he likes when he's locked in the gutter and throwing it slow with that super finesse release. I mean,
you can't beat him.
No, you can't.
He has that like voodoo roll almost.
Right.
Like his ball roll does a trick. And now instead of his ball going this way, his ball's going this way at 21 miles an hour up the lane, and he was just throwing a bullet up the lane.
Right. And I think I said it at the top of the show. I think this is Sam Cooley's show to win.
Yep, you said that. I was there with you. You called it from the beginning of the night.
I watched Sam Bull in match play, and his ball just steamrolled the 8-9. I mean, absolutely steamrolled him. So
yeah,
we'll skip around towards the end of this game here.
So here's a question, and there's Prather just splitting the 8-9 from 4.
Yeah,
and you never see Prather that far right ever.
No, it's very uncommon to see that.
It's very unshark-like to say it like that.
Yeah.
Is 3 the new 4 on tour? How many 3 counts do we see in the World Series on TV?
There was a couple.
The couple. Marshall in the second match here, his opening shot should have been 3 off the left.
Yeah.
I mean, he cut that one short, and he's lucky he got 3.
So
I'm sorry, 7. I apologize.
Let me go back to this 9th frame here for Simonson. Now, you can see this back score 245, and Sam's only got 227. And my pick is Sam at this point. So Simonson's got a strike here, and he's basically in. Rings a 10, and now Sam's got a chance to get up and double in the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Simonson with the momentum in his hand to just double and force Sam to double an 8, and gets the first one and fails to get the second one going light. And Sam needs the first one 9 to move on to the next match.
Can't throw much better than that. Slaps the 10 out.
Right. And that's what I'm talking about, how his ball steamrolled the 1-3.
You called it Monday night when we were in the Bohn Center together. You had said it right before. I mean, look at that. You said it right before they went to scoring that Sam Cooley was your pick to win.
Yeah, and for the reason with urethane being used by 2 guys up 4-5, and Sam playing the bank off of 1-2, he had hold in.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the perfect situation to just have 4 or 5 boards. Marshall
kind of was sort of on top of Sam, it looked like. He tried to get there.
I agree. I think Marshall was just too deep. And it might have been a ball roll thing, but I think Marshall was too deep, in my opinion.
I've heard this from I'm not going to say the source, but a very reputable touring player has told me this. Marshall Kent should have 15 titles by right now in his career. The reason he doesn't, and this is from Mr. X, all right?
Okay.
When Marshall makes TV, he's always 5 left of where he should be.
Yeah.
And that person's 100% right. Think of all the shows Marshall has made in his career. He's always deeper than he needs to be on the show.
Look at this. Look at where he's at. And this one he obviously missed right. He's at 16 at the arrows, and Sam's at 13. So he's 3 left of Sam on a 35-foot pattern.
And he's playing the lip. I mean, he's going 16 and a half. I mean, he has no room for error there.
No. I mean,
he cut that one short. Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, goodbye. I mean, on something like this, he should have been further right with something different.
Didn't he win? Didn't he beat Grandpa Barnes in the arena on a short pattern a couple years ago?
He won in Oklahoma on Wolf, I believe. Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. And he was throwing the high hard one on that one too.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't try that, because he could throw it as hard as anybody out there.
Right.
But no, totally agree.
But at the foul in this match was a little bit of a momentum swing, but I think that Chris needed to get out of that urethane ball.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he just there was too much oil down the lane for him to be throwing it, and Sam had just the whole world. I mean, that shot was an example. I mean, that shot was a board left at almost 5 where Prather's ball went high, his ball laid there.
Prather was in his own carry down. He made his shot and then he burned his shot. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah,
He
was
made
in
his
his own
shot
spot.
and then was supposed to go in with reactive, and he stayed out there with urethane.
Yep, he was trying to force it, and it was the wrong move. And you're not beating Cooley with that kind of a look. You're not beating anybody with that kind of a look.
No, I mean, he had the prime example of ball reaction when you need. I mean, his ball steamrolled the 1-3.
Yeah.
Steamrolled it. And I think it was time that Sam Cooley, this show was Sam's tournament to win, and he went out and did it.
Yeah, 100%.
The fact that he didn't have a title before this, he proved it that he can win. And when he had to look, no one was beating him.
Yep. Couldn't agree with you more. So kudos to Sam. Good job, mate. I think we'll call him mate.
Yeah.
From Australia.
Yep. I mean,
phenomenal job. Well deserved. Finally goes to the winner's circle.
Yeah.
And that's the one there. He just let it out there. He knew that was the one that locked it up.
Yeah. So once again, I think it was really good to see a new guy win their first title on tour. It's always a really special moment.
And Sam lost his mom recently too, so it was very emotional for Sam as well.
Right. So hats off to Sam Cooley. Congrats on your first title, and
the first of many more, hopefully.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Now let's touch on Tuesday for a little bit here.
All right, let's pull this show up here.
Tuesday was the
Chameleon.
The urethane show, if you want to call it that.
Yes. All 4 guys started with urethane.
And is there not a more dedicated practicer than Jason Sterner? We've said this numerous. I don't know anybody that's more devoted and dedicated than Sterner.
And just make note, that was the game-changing shot right there for Sterner.
Correct.
You could see that it was hard to string him just by looking at the score. I mean, 2-0, 2-0, 190, 180. And they were hard to string.
They were. And how about Mr. Weidman? Weidman, am I saying that right?
Yep.
Welcome back to the show after his 250 plus average in the Players, where unfortunately he didn't get through. Welcome back, and this guy's making a name for himself already.
I know, and he's very new. I mean,
he's a baby. Yeah, I mean, you would consider him for Rookie of the Year, probably.
It's definitely in consideration right now.
Yeah. So, and you know, we've always talked about like the feel good stories and whatnot. How about Maldonado? I mean, 3 months ago, right? Couldn't walk.
In January.
Yeah, 3 months ago. 2 months ago, couldn't walk.
How's
that?
He couldn't walk for 3 days.
Yeah.
And just started taking a stump. He'd had a stump in it for all the time in the world that he was bowling, and took his thumb out of it in October.
Mm-hmm.
And makes big difference in his approach. And I think that was something that was needed for him. And I think it got him over the hump to win that first title.
Agreed. And I think Mr. Weidman here, Randy had said it maybe in this frame or the next frame. In there, he finally switches to reactive. He needed to get out of urethane like 3 frames before he made the change.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that was a difference maker for
Maldonado.
Yeah, I think it allowed Sean to get in a little bit more of his comfort zone and have some hold down lane. I mean, you can see his ball's not hooking very much down lane because of all that urethane. But I think if Zach went to it a couple of frames earlier, it would have been a different ball game.
100%. 100% right. So, you know, live and learn. He's been on 2 shows already. He'll be back. I mean, you got to put this kid in the running for Rookie of the Year. Have to.
Right.
And then here we insert Butters again.
Once again, with a shot at another title at the World Series of Bowling. Second title match. And, I mean, I think this was Sean's tournament to win because of that urethane carry down. When he went to reactive, it was the same thing that Sam Cooley had the night before.
Yeah.
Because they were all throwing urethane, They had hold, they had hook right.
Yep. And he just had a different part of the lane where he had his hold. So again, you're not beating that.
No, and I think Jacob might have been able to go to reactive and had a little bit of a different look.
That's a kick. That's a kick right in the pants right there.
Right.
You know what? I thought he was going to make one of these because the pins did fly out in that center and on that pair especially.
Yeah, they did. One of the nights they had like 3 or 4 deadwood clears and like 5 shots.
That's why I was saying to myself, I'm like, they can bounce out. So making the 7-10 on that pair was not out of the realm.
No.
But no, when you give those guys like 3 or 4 boards, forget it. You're not beating them.
No.
And Maldonado had that. You're not beating him.
No, he had the look, and it was his tournament to win.
Yeah, he had the look. He got the breaks he needed. And, welcome to the winner's circle, Maldonado. He's been knocking on the door for years now, and he finally broke through. And, he's one of the good boys from Texas, like DJ Archer, Dino Crew, Tommy Jones. So good for him. And welcome to the winner's circle.
He finally got him one, as he said.
Yeah.
But I think this match might have gone a little bit different if Jacob had gone to reactive. Now, we've seen him only throw urethane, very little reactive on TV. I think he's starting to get that a little bit more in his bag. But I think that it might have made a difference in how this match went. I'm just hypothetically might have.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Because the same thing happened on the right, where once they got in with that urethane, they had hold and they had hook right, and that was the one that would have made the 7-10 too.
Correct, and he knows it too. He's laughing about that one. So here's Maldonado and
3 count.
3
front 6 3.
He might have hit both 273 to win his first title.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. He made the spare.
Yeah, good spare too.
Very good spare.
That's not the easiest one.
No. And not for nothing. What do you think Butters is thinking right there? A guy has a front 6 like, give me a shot here. 3.
I'm thinking honestly, sitting on the bench, I go out for 245. My opponent's pacing 240. At least this one gives me a chance.
Yeah.
And he did not make a very good shot at all.
Nope.
I think he just grabbed it a little bit, and that was what she wrote.
And that was the tournament right there. So, congrats again to Maldonado. And boom.
I said it right before the match started. It was Sean's tournament to win, and the prime example it was.
Yep. So now we have one left.
The Scorpion.
So there's a couple storylines that we can talk about before we get to the show.
You want to go ahead and address those?
Well, the first one was it came out yesterday morning that Weber was, and Weber actually said it to us, if you remember, over the summer when I asked him if he had enough in the tank to win one more on the kids tour. If you remember that, Justin.
Yeah.
And he basically said no. He said, he can't carry the corners like he used to, and this was Pete's last stop at a national tournament. And I am going to have to step away for 2 minutes.
Okay.
I have a repairman here to fix my washing machine. I have to let him in the house. So you're going to take over for like 2 minutes, and I'll be right back.
All right, buddy. Back in. So as we are starting this one up, as Mike just talked about, it was Pete Weber's last event on the national tour, and it was also Walter Ray's last national event on the tour. And Tom Doherty had gone through both of those guys, both of them. He had to beat Pete Weber and Walter Ray Williams to get to TV. If that doesn't write the story right there, I don't know what does. Tom Doherty and all these guys grew up watching Weber and Walter Ray, and they get to bowl. He had to bowl both of them to get to TV. Unreal, absolutely unreal. But I know we'll talk about it a little later because Mike wants to talk about it. But Pete, let everybody know that it was his last TV show when he talked about the "Who do you think you are? I am." And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, you all know what I'm talking about. But this match for Prather did not start out very hot at all, and I mean at all. I believe he had 54 in the 5th and had absolutely no business staying in this game. Started off slow. Michael Tang throwing urethane, I believe, made a difference in who won this match. I just don't think that he really had a whole lot of a look at all throwing urethane. But I think that was what he used in match play, and that was what he had been a fan of. That was what allowed him to get to the show. So it makes sense why he threw it. But you can see Prather's got 26 in the third with a strike in the fourth, and he will follow it up with an open in the fifth. So he's bowling 150, and the next guy is 190. So he is in a all or nothing battle to just give himself a chance at all. 5 frames into the match. So going into the commercial break, he was down a lot. But going into the 10th frame, he had thrown 4 really good shots in a row to give himself a chance in the 10th frame. And it was between Kyle and Michael Tang. And when Kyle threw that first one, he had shut out Prather. And now it was up to Michael Tang to give him a chance. Tom Doherty also bowled extremely well on this show. 240 the first game. Yeah, so this was the shot that actually he needed the first one to shut out Chris and ends up leaving a washout, and huge difference maker even just on the count too. Now he only gets 2, and 3 would have shut him out. 3 would have gave him 184, and Prather would have needed the first one, and at that moment in time, Prather had already gotten 9. So this is the first shot in the 10th for Prather. Gets it way right, fortunate enough to only get 9. And now Darren needs 3 to shut him out, only gets 2, and then Prather needs a strike to force him to get back in. Fails to strike, flat 10. Now they're going to roll off. Mike, welcome back.
Sorry about that.
You're all good.
So we got to the end here, it looks like, right?
Yeah, and this was actually pretty exciting going into a roll-off. I thought it was cool to see the World Series that had just about everything else. I thought having a roll-off was pretty fitting for this last show.
Absolutely.
And Chris couldn't have thrown that one any better.
No.
Any better.
He looked like a lost dog in the first 3 shots.
In the first 5 frames he did.
Yeah.
And I think Darren or Mike just made the wrong ball choice. I think if he threw reactive, it could have been a little bit of a different story, but that's my opinion. And also, same for Prather with that one. Couldn't have thrown that one any better.
No, that was typical. That's typical Prather fashion.
Yeah. What did I just do? What on earth did I just do?
I don't think you did anything.
No, we were trying to find this roll-off, and we almost got there. There we go. All right, we're back.
He allowed himself, no room for error.
Yeah, I mean, that one was only 1 in down lane, and it went high. So
Chris had no right being in that spot.
No. After him, he was down. He was 40 out, and he had the look. And I think it was now. We talk about momentum swing, him getting out of a roll off and being in the next match. If he just executed and made good shots, he should have been going for the title. Now, this match I actually didn't watch, so I know that Tom and Kyle both for the title, but I don't know how it happens.
I will tell you this. Prather, in my opinion, had the best game out of the 3 of them. Okay. This is a typical, and you've heard this before, this is going to be a Johnnyism I'm going to throw out there. Prather bowled good. He did not score good.
Okay.
And once he made the move to that Zen,
yeah,
he had the noodle. I mean, he really had a great look. That's right in his wheelhouse. And as you'll see as the match goes on here, like you didn't see it, Prather's carry was just abysmal, and then a couple breaks on the opponents didn't really help him either.
Right.
And I mean, look, this is one of the good ones here.
Yeah.
No, that's not
like to see one of the shots that didn't strike, but I mean, when your opponent's got 290 and 279 out in the 10th, that's pretty hard to beat.
Watch the second one in the 10th for Prather. And boom. That's a member's break right there. You can tell he frequent. Watch this one.
Oof.
Game over.
Thanks that one he definitely got around it, but I mean, putting himself in that situation after not being there after the first game was very telling.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Kyle Troop, Tom Doherty, going to bowl for a title. I believe this is Kyle's second show of the World Series and Tom's third show of the World Series, and with a chance to win his second title of the 5. Second title in 5 events.
Yeah, in 5 days. In 5 days.
5 days, yeah. So I'm actually hold on, I'm gonna stop the sharing and turn the sound on because we wanna hear this 10th frame from Tom Doherty once we get to it.
Tom Doherty, also known as the Goat Slayer now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Don Barrett there.
We'll. I also mentioned about your moment that you want to talk about with Pete once we get to it. We'll play that at the end here.
Yeah, we'll get to all that stuff later on.
Just on you. Now you have to face your teammates. Your double.
Randy said at the end of the show that Tom's touch to throw it less than 17 miles an hour was unreal.
Yeah, and no thumb either.
Yeah. To throw it that slow was unreal. And
that was surprising. I thought that was pretty good. I mean, off the tracker, it's awful hair.
I think it was close. To my opinion, it looked a little hard.
He might have been throwing
in the 6th.
It had to be because it was close. It was online, but
to the toughest moment.
Tom said it at the end of the show that he had to throw it slow to get around Tang's urethane.
Baby. Cross the deck.
So this is the 10th frame here for Tom. Needs a double to win, and this was his moment right here.
Wow.
And we're not going to say a word and let him take the floor.
Needs 9 for the win. It is your house, Tom Doherty. He gets 10. And he wins the Scorpion Championship. Tom Doherty does it again.
So that moment right there, for me, wrapped up the World Series as a pretty good one because I think that was a very fitting place for him to say that. He said it in the right place after winning 2 titles. I thought it was perfect.
It was, and he didn't say anything that wasn't truthful. He outperformed the field. I mean, he lapped the field.
Yeah, and I mean, some people say that in the wrong place at the wrong time, and as a fan of bowling, to see some fire on TV, I think that was the right place, the right time, and he earned that statement.
He absolutely, excuse the expression, but there's a lot of guys that come off sounding like a dick sometimes, right?
Yeah.
That was not a dick statement. That was just, I earned every word of that, and I deserve to say it.
Yeah,
and I think everybody knows it too, or knew it too.
Yeah, and he had practiced in that center. He said he had won at least 15 tournaments from youth to adult tournaments in that building. Practiced on that pair specifically all the time because it was right in front of the pro shop. The proprietor of the bowling center, when he was in high school, actually would lock high school kids in the building so they could practice overnight and then drive 40 minutes to high school in the morning. Mm-hmm. So Tom definitely had a lot of games in that building under his belt.
That center to him is our Howell. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly like one of us popping off a title at Howell. I mean, that's exactly what you can compare it to.
Right.
But I think what people are also missing is that forgetting what he did earlier in the day as well. His 2 matches in match play.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
About how he had to bowl Pete and Walter Ray to get to TV.
Yeah.
Idols of all the guys on tour, and he had to bowl both of them to get to TV.
Yeah, and Weber took him to 5. He went the distance with Weber.
I think he went the distance with Walter Ray too.
He was down 2-0 to Walter Ray.
Yeah.
He was down 2-0, and then he came back and beat Walter 3-2. Pete obviously made the statement early in the morning. It got leaked, and Flo had it, and Lucas Weissman had it all over the place. That's how we knew Pete was hanging him up, and he said that to us. And then later on in the day, I think it was right before the match with Doherty, Walter had said the statement.
Yeah, said the same thing.
Yeah. So regardless of if you don't like Walter, you don't like his game, whatever it is, you had to be pulling for Walter Ray in the round of 8. You had to.
Yeah.
Like
So
this is really quick. I'm sorry.
you're good.
What better storyline would there have been? Walter makes the show, right? He's already called it. This is it. I'm done. 61. Was he 61 or 62?
Yeah,
I think he's 61. 61. And he would have a chance to go out getting title 48.
Yeah.
Right? 48. He would have continue on his Mount Rushmore of titles. And then he would also have broken Handegard's record as the oldest person on the national tour. And he was riding off to the sunset. How great would that have been?
That would have been you couldn't have written that story any better.
No, or I mean the only way it would have been better is if Pete and Walter were both on the show and they're both hanging them up and they're on the show together. That would have been the ideal. But I mean, between them, 220 titles between them.
Between every kind of PBA competition, yeah.
Well, Walter just won one over the weekend.
Yeah.
I think that was
senior regional over the weekend of the World Series.
Was that 116 or 117? I think it was 119. 119. Oh my God. And Weber's at 100, 105?
That I don't know.
So just say 220 to make a round number.
Yeah.
So there's 40 years of experience with 220 titles. Those are guys that I watched growing up as a kid. And I mean, you caught them at the end of their career, obviously.
Right.
But those are two idols of mine. And a buddy of mine messaged me last night. He goes, the tour will never be the same again with those two gone. I have to agree with him. There's like that passing of the guard now to like the Belmos and the Tackett's and the Prathers, but there's never going to be another Walter, and there's never going to be another Weber.
No.
And there's no denying that. And I'm sure you saw this last night all over social media. Pete went out with a bang last night.
Yeah, and I've actually got that clip. I think it's very fitting that we play this.
Yeah, we don't really let it fly very often, but for this one, we're going to let this one fly.
Yeah, and you can just see from the title, it's coming.
The best win I ever had was winning the Tournament of Champions in '87, because that's something that my family never won. But winning my 5th U.S. Open by a pin, throwing a strike to win. Who do you think you are? I am, and that's fucking right. I am.
I mean,
I just had to say that.
What better way to go out than Pete Weber himself making that statement on TV?
How about the fact that was really live and there's no 3-second delay to hit the sensor really quick?
No.
And the fact that they let Walter go first was better, because if they would have had Pete go first and he did that, Walter wouldn't know what to done.
No, you wouldn't have been able to follow that up.
You can't follow that. You cannot follow that. That was the best. And how are you going to find Weber for that? You can't.
No. I mean, he's done bowling on tour. And the amount of times that Pete has done something like that, that was the most fitting place to do something like that. And he said at the end, sorry, I had
to say. That is outstanding.
Perfect.
And
perfect.
I would have loved to see Randy's face
when
that happened. So that was a fitting way to end World Series 12.
Yeah.
But now getting back to those two guys really quick, I know they said they're gone from the national tour. Is that going to include the majors?
I believe so. I
really?
believe they both withdrew from the U.S. Open and the Masters.
I heard Walter say that. I didn't know if Pete did that as well.
Yeah, I think he just. I think that they wouldn't have said that this was my last event if it was
on the national tour.
Right.
Okay, so let me ask you this: gun to your head, right?
Okay.
Gun to your head. You need a strike to win. Walter or Weber? Who are you going to take?
Ooh.
That's a tough one. Somebody asked me that last night. That's why I'm going to ask you. Gun to your head. Who you take?
I think I got to take Pete.
Yeah.
I think I got to take Pete for the reason of who do you think you are? I am.
Yeah, I said the same thing, and there's no disrespecting Walter by any means possible. Not at all. I mean, that guy's he's had wars in the lanes.
Right.
But there's just something like Pete gets a little deeper when he needs it. Like he finds a little extra. Obviously, by the numbers, Walter has had a better career. Titles, all the accolades. I think the only thing Weber's missing from his historical career is a Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And a Masters. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, what else have those two guys had? What have they done? What have they not done?
Right. Right.
They haven't shot 300 on TV. Okay, that's not a big thing. And Walter never won the Tournament of Champions.
Right.
7-time Player of the Year. And when they asked Walter what his one moment was standing out in his career, it was back-to-back Bowler of the Decades. How impressive is that?
That's impressive.
Yeah, and he did it
on top for 20 years.
Dude, he did it. He won his first Player of the Year in the 80s with Urethane.
Right.
Resin wasn't even a thought yet.
Right.
And again, everybody says, well, Resin helped Walter the most. Probably did. But everybody's forgetting he was dominant in the 80s with Urethane.
Right.
He would have had a Hall of Fame career regardless if resin was invented or not.
Right.
I think if resin wasn't invented, Weber would probably have lapped him in titles.
Right. Right.
That's my opinion. But I mean, what have those guys? What have they done? They've done everything there is to do. Two great ambassadors of the game, and it was almost like, Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods retiring yesterday. That's exactly what it was like.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's our recap on the World Series of Bowling 12. I thought overall it was a pretty good World Series. It was good to see some guys get their first titles, and good to see Tom Doherty prove that AMF University Lanes was in fact his house.
Do you think you got to throw TD in the mix for bowler now?
Absolutely. He did say that he's not bowling the Masters or the U.S. Open, but Kyle's up there too, and Frankie's up there. You gotta wait and see what happens over the summer.
So when they're on a break now?
Yep. Well, they're going to the Masters very soon. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like a week off, I think, but they got like a week to travel where they're going out to Reno.
Right.
Right. It is at the stadium. What stadium has the U.S. Open right after?
Yep.
So do you have a thought for the Masters or the U.S. Open?
What about it?
Give me a pick.
To win?
Yeah, I mean, the Masters is one of those tournaments where anybody's event because of,
I'd like to see an amateur win,
Me too.
or someone. I like it to see when guys win their first titles or guys that we don't normally see win. I'd like to see it.
Like a Mr. Weidman, somebody like that.
Someone new to the scene I'd like to see win the Masters.
I would love to see an amateur win the Masters.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool too.
And our guy is not bowling the Masters. Our amateur is not. JJ.
Yeah.
That's the one. There's certain people, and I think maybe you'll agree with me. There's certain people that deserve to win certain tournaments.
Yep.
And I think that John never going on tour, you can't say, oh, John should have won the Tournament of Champions or he should have won the Players or whatnot. But with everything he's done around the globe, Team USA, all that stuff, John Janowitz deserves to win the Masters.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'll give you one other one. And I don't know if he's bowling the Masters. I think he is. Matt McNeil.
Okay.
Is there anybody that's had more success in that building than Matt McNeil in the past 10 years?
In the past 10 years, no.
No. I mean, he single-handedly rewrote the record books at the Nationals in that building.
Yeah, he did.
So, I mean, that's a good one. And then we got the Open afterwards. So it's going to be another interesting couple weeks. And we will preview them in the upcoming weeks.
We'll definitely be back talking about those events as they get a little bit closer. But as for now, we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Bohn and Zano Zone, where we recapped the World Series of Bowling. So as for now, be sure and hit that subscribe button, like the Facebook page, do the whole spiel and the whole deal. Be sure and check out buddiesproshop.com. Use coupon code ZONE5OFF to save 5% on your next order. And if you want yourself some Team Bone merch, I got myself the Team Gutterball shirt where the gray boards don't hook.
They don't hook.
Logo Infusion and IamBowling.com for both of those as well. And
you're good.
If you haven't already, go check out my YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, and safe travels to Texas. My repairman's calling me, so I'm going to head out, and I will talk to you later, buddy.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. We'll see you next time.